Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing our product review for the Zojirushi TSC10 rice cooker. Zojirushi has an amazing reputation, but do they live up to it? Watch this video and find out. So you ready? Let's get into this. Just a quick note, our reviews are based upon the things that we think are important. That might be a little bit different for you, so what we recommend doing is after watching our video, you pull up a couple of different videos from other YouTube content creators. That way you can get a wider range of concerns and opinions, and you'll be able to make a much more informed buying decision. And that is the most important thing of all. Here is our rice cooker. The maximum capacity of it is 5.5 cups. The parts it comes with include your rice paddle. You got this little plastic piece that'll either attach here or on the other side of the rice cooker as well, and that just acts as a place to park the rice paddle. The design on this thing I'm not really too overly enthusiastic about. I mean, it goes on there and it works just fine, but when it's on there, it just sort of hangs off the bottom and it flops around. So it's pretty janky, and with a product like this, I was a little bit surprised that it sort of fit that way. It almost looks like it belongs to a different model of rice cooker or something, and they just accidentally put it in the box. I don't know how you feel about that, but I don't know. To me, it just sort of gives it a little bit of a cheap factor, which I never thought I'd see with the Zojirushi rice cooker. You can see that this rice cooker has a stainless steel finish on it. Looks super pretty, but I'll tell you what, this thing is pretty hard to keep clean. It is a fingerprint magnet for sure. Up here is your steam vent, and this top piece just comes right out for cleaning. You can see it's got a nice rubber seal in here to keep that in place, and they've made this stuff really easy to clean and deal with. When enough steam gets collected by this and turns back into water, it'll end up dripping down into this area right here, and that makes cleaning it up even easier. This particular rice cooker comes with an integrated handle, makes it easy to transport around, and frankly kind of makes it look sort of like a picnic basket, doesn't it?
The fastest way I know to get a picnic basket.
An expensive one at that. On the back, you can see this has a retractable power cord. If you pull it out just a little bit, it'll catch, and if you pull it a little bit further until you hear it click, you can let go, and it'll pull the whole thing back in just like that. This is actually pretty long if you pull this out all the way. I mean, that's not really too bad. Long enough anyways. This button opens it up, and inside, you've got this removable aluminum piece right here. That way when you're steaming your rice, you don't have a whole bunch of moisture collected in the middle. My old rice cooker did that, and I really couldn't stand that. It's just got a little rubber handle on here, and it just kind of pops back on, just like that. Right here we have our steamer bowl. You may or may not be using this thing. It's not super big, but keep in mind, this is a 5.5 cup rice cooker. They do make larger ones, and then these would be obviously much larger too. So it's really only designed to serve maybe 3 or 4 people, and for that, it's plenty big enough. Right here we have our main cooking bowl, and it's got a nice non-stick surface to it. This can scratch off, so you need to be really careful when you're cleaning this. Don't use anything too abrasive on it, or you'll ruin it pretty darn quick actually. You can see right here etched onto the inside of the bowl, you have all the different measurements for different types of things that you can cook in here. Those are on this side of the bowl, and there's some different ones on this side of the bowl. The fact that they're etched in here is really nice because that just means it's going to last a heck of a lot longer than if they were just painted on. Without the bowl in here, you can see the heating element down here, and you can see the pressure tab right here that tells the machine whether or not the bowl is actually in the machine or not. Right here we have our control panel, and you can see right here that we can see the time, but this thing isn't plugged in. This has a small battery in it that'll keep that information saved in here for you. That's really nice because one of the pet peeves I have is that after a power outage, you gotta go through all of your clocks and all your appliances and reset them back to the current time. It's nice that somebody's actually thinking about that. As far as size goes, this thing is about 9 inches wide or so. At its tallest point, it's about 8¼ inches tall. And with the handle swung down in the back, it's about 14 inches deep. So not bad. It's a little bit big for a 5.5 cup rice cooker, but that's probably more due to the shape that Zojirushi likes to use for these things. In fact, if I remember right, this company might be the first company that started designing these things in this sort of rectangular shape like this. They used to always be round. Let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but I'll save you the suspense. I probably am. As far as function on this machine goes, it's super simple. You got your cancel button right here that basically just cancels anything you're currently doing and puts you back right here. The menu button will change the thing that you're currently cooking, so right here it's already on white rice and sushi rice. If you hit the menu button, it'll make quick rice, so it cooks in about half the time or so. If you have the time to wait, I wouldn't really use the quick, I would just let it do its thing, and it only takes about an hour anyway. Mixed is if you have a combination of different kinds of rice. Then you got porridge, sweet rice, brown rice, a cake function, and when you use that it gives you an option to change the amount of minutes it's going to bake for, and a steam function. And again, we've got the minute timer on that as well. You can use the keeps warm button to keep the contents of whatever's in here warm. However, if you cook some rice in here or something, when the cycle gets done, it will revert to the keeps warm setting anyway. If you've just finished a cook cycle, you get the option of regular keeps warm or extended keeps warm. If you have it on extended, it'll keep it warm, but it'll be a slightly lower temperature, and it will extend out past a full day. The timer will actually let you set 2 different timers, and really all that is start time. So you'd select what you want to do, set the timer, and you can see the start button is blinking here. For instance, the way I have it right here, it's set to 6 a.m. If I were to hit the start button, it would wait to 6 a.m. and then it would cook the white rice or sushi rice for me. Pretty easy stuff, huh? The start button also acts as a reheat button as well. For testing, we cooked a few different things. First, we cleaned and cooked some plain white rice. And as you'd expect, it came out absolutely perfect. But then again, if it couldn't do that perfect, the review would probably be done by now. Also for that, we wanted to see how well the keeps warm function worked. And we also flipped that over to the extended warm function. We checked the rice every so often at 6, 12, and 24 hours. And even after a full day, the rice was still nice, fluffy, and soft. It was still surprisingly moist too. For every rice cooker that I've personally used, after a full day of leaving the rice in the machine like that, you ended up with really weird dried out rice. Or you'd have little sections of it that were overly wet because the steam would collect on sections of the lid and drip down in one spot. So for it to look this good after a full day was amazing. For obvious reasons, Zojirushi doesn't really recommend leaving rice in your rice cooker for longer than a day, even if you have it on keeps warm. In fact, it'll turn that cycle off after a day anyway. But we wanted to see what would happen if we left it in there for 2 days. So when the warm cycle ended, we just restarted it and left the rice in there and checked back after another day. And lo and behold, that rice still looked almost exactly the way it did after the first one. That was fantastic, and I don't know if you're the kind of person that wants to leave rice in there that long, but the fact that it can do it and do it as well as it does is frankly pretty mind-blowing. Hey, by the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. For our second test, we did the exact same thing, except this time we used brown rice. A lot of times when you cook brown rice, it tends to come out a little bit more dry, and sometimes it could be a little bit harder to find that balance. In our case, we just did it the exact same way with the same amount of water. When that cycle got done, it was the exact same result, same perfect rice. And we even did the same test with the keeps warm function for 1 day and also for 2 days. Just like the white rice, the brown rice held up super well. After leaving it in there for the second day though, the brown rice got to be a tiny bit on the dry side, but really we can't fault the rice cooker too much for that, especially when you're not really supposed to leave it in there that long anyway. So we'd still call that a win. For our third test, we used the steamer. We filled the steam basket with a bunch of broccoli, put a little bit of water down into the cooking pot, closed the lid, and steamed. The results on that steam were fantastic. We used water, but you can always use chicken stock or something like that if you want your steamed vegetables to come out more like something from Panda Express or something like that. It does take a little while for it to finish up. Ours took about 45 minutes or so, beginning to end. But the finished vegetables were perfect. They were nice and crunchy. Also, the cleanup on that was almost non-existent. I'm used to cooking my vegetables in a boiling pot of water. So in my particular case, the entire process was not only a little bit cleaner, but it was a little bit faster too. For our last test, we tried to do something a little bit different. We used the cake function in our Zojirushi to make a cheesecake. You gotta mix all your ingredients outside the rice cooker like you normally would if you're making a cake. And the only difference really is instead of taking your ingredients and pouring them into a cake tin and throwing that in your oven, you're just putting them in your rice cooker pot, closing the lid, and starting it up. The whole process on the cheesecake took 1 hour, and the only cleanup I had was a couple of utensils, the mixing bowl, and the rice cooker bowl. It was a super clean process and it was super easy. I kind of feel like I saved a little bit of time doing it this way too. The best part is that the cheesecake came out really good. I was expecting it to just be a little bit weird, but really I was super impressed, and for somebody who doesn't really bake all that much, it came out really great. This rice cooker is pretty damn cool. It's really hard to find a lot to criticize about it because it hit everything out of the park that we threw at it. Obviously, the main function is steaming rice, and it does that amazing. The fact that it can do other things like steaming your vegetables and baking cakes and stuff like that is just icing on the cake. Pardon the pun. If I was really forced to give it a negative, I would have to say maybe the price. Zojirushis are awesome rice cookers, but they do tend to be the most expensive ones too. If you'd like a little bit more information about the Zojirushi rice cooker that we reviewed in this video, we do have an Amazon affiliate link to it down in the description of the video. If you buy anything through those links, we do make a small commission, but it doesn't change the price that you pay, 1 cent. If you like this video, you might like this video right here where we reviewed the Ninja Foodi pressure cooker with smart lid. Of all the small appliances we have in our kitchen, that probably gets the most use of everything. Well, that's it for now. I hope to see you back again here really soon. And until that time, I'm Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.